Snow, nude.
Tyrion, bored.
Sam Jr., loved.
Arya, nobody.
Ollie, course.
They think you're some kind of god.
If a girl is truly no one, she has nothing to fear.
Why have you come to Winterfell?
I've got a gift for you.
If someone is planning on making our losses their gains, I want to hear it.
And now it begins.
Now it ends.
And now, a moment of silence for Shaggydog.
I will remember you. Will you remember me? All life pass you by. Weep not for the memory.
Hi everybody, welcome to Fan vs. Fan. It's Season 6, Episode 3 of Game of Thrones. I am Joel.
I'm Brian.
And we are amazing. We're going to guide you through this episode, talk about all sorts of the cool stuff that happened, from the Sword of the Morning, to Shaggydog, to the Mountain not murdering anybody, which is the worst part of the episode.
We will be your guides through this voyage of life. Pros, Joel, let's start with pros.
Oh yeah.
Because we normally start with pros. So we should continue to start with pros. I can tell you what I liked about it.
What did you like about it, Brian?
That Tyrion scene I really liked.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I understand, like, not a whole lot got done. I mean, if anything that got done in that sequence was probably the scene before it.
Yeah, with various.
Yeah, but it was just so fun. It's just
it went backwards a little.
another example of how fun Tyrion is. And even when he's not doing anything, it's so fun to watch.
It's true, and it's one of the things that is lacking with some people like Peter Baelish, not in the story as much this season is. There's definitely a much lower threshold for a sense of humor on the show. It's basically all Tyrion drinking and making pithy comments.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah, even Grey Worm had a great line, or a couple of lines. Like, what do you guys talk about? Like, patrol, patrol reports. I don't even remember the whole line. I just remember I laughed at it. It was pretty funny. There's a bunch of stuff about patrolling.
It makes you really sad for Missandei.
Yeah, what do they talk about?
Well, that's just it.
Patrol?
Exactly. And she doesn't patrol, so she's got nothing.
Like, does he just talk at her about patrolling? She's
Yeah.
like, this is great.
That was the
really
impression I
interesting
got,
stuff.
right? Was
Love
like, it's like she enjoys hearing about that because there's nothing else to talk about. Everything else is like people being murdered, boats being sunk and burned, our queen being hauled off by a gigantic thunder lizard. And then it's like, well, patrol's at least like a bit positive.
It's weird that they've ended up like this conservative old couple. You know, it's like, what do you guys do? I'm like, well, we get up at 6 a.m. and then Joe reads the paper and then I wash the cat and then it's just like a boring list.
But it
of
makes
stuff.
perfect sense, right? He's a eunuch, so it's like he already looked at her naked, and then they're like, huh, well, there's nothing there. I guess we can become an old couple now.
I do not have hormones.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
they're basically just like you know, probably high-five backstage, like off camera at some point and said, yeah, let's just be an old couple now.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was great. And all the Tyrion stuff was awesome.
It was very funny. One thing I loved about it was that it harkens back to Season 1, Episode 9, where he is in a Lannister tent with Bronn and Shay, and they play the same game.
Oh, I
the
didn't
game
remember
that he
that.
suggests. He suggests a game
He's
where...
playing, well, I feel like people call it different things. I think when I was a teenager, we called it Never Have I Ever. Isn't that what they're playing? Basically?
I imagine they have a different name for it because...
Oh, did you not play this when you were a teenager?
Not directly, not with alcohol.
Okay. All right.
But they had basically the way it works, right, was that Shay and Bronn he's asking them questions and they're answering. But because they're all been drinking, it becomes enjoyable, at least for Tyrion.
Yeah,
and in this case,
it
he's basically trying to strike up the same fun, but Grey Worm and Missandei are completely terrible partners compared to Bronn and Shay, who've lived like wild, exciting lives of hedonism.
Yeah,
and these two have literally just proven that they're like they're the equivalent of two like stone columns in the temple.
It's something the show does great when it gets there, but doesn't always do. We just combine characters in that fun way.
Mm-hmm.
Like often it's like the swashbucklers. Let's get a team of swordsmen and send them off to the island, and like, well, they're sort of the same guy fundamentally.
Yeah, Dorne.
So it's really great to see Tyrion is so different from those guys smashed together.
And like all those characters have been reacting with Dany 100% of the time, all the time, because everything in Essos is through her point of view up until Tyrion arrives.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a breath of fresh air to see these characters interacting with people who aren't just, Khaleesi.
Joel, what did you like?
Well, one scene that I liked that I think a lot of people have been waiting for a very long time is the flashback scene that Bran saw that took place in Dorne, although they don't mention it, with young Ned Stark fighting the two Kingsguard in front of a place which is called the Tower of Joy.
Now, I don't know what this is. It didn't look like a joyful tower to me.
It did not. It looked
so maybe you could fill me in on what this is.
Well, there's nothing joyful inside it either. Because
so it's a bit of a misnomer.
It is. Okay,
shows thrown you for a loop a little bit.
It's true. There's towers all over Westeros that are like Candy Tower, Fun Tower, and they're all lies. It's just chains and
Popcorn
death.
Tower, Night in by yourself with a big bag of chips tower.
Especially Popcorn Tower. That place is a shithole. You do not want to go there.
No.
Anyway, but the Tower of Joy, what it is it's a scene in the books that actually happens really early.
Okay.
So in the middle of the first book of called The Game of Thrones, there's a scene where you get a vision of you get a memory of the Tower of Joy from the point of view of Eddard.
See, this is really unfortunate because the first book is the only book that I've read, and I still don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's just it. It's something that kind of sneaks by you if you're not paying attention.
Okay.
And I didn't get it the first time I read it either. And what it is it's a memory that Eddard has about what happened back when he was fighting and starting the rebellion with Robert against Rhaegar Targaryen. Right. And so the way the story goes is this, and this is important for anybody who's watching who has not read the books, who has read the books and wants a catch up. It's important to know because it's going to play a role later on this season.
Are we getting to spoiler territory here?
Well, no, because we won't go.
For people who haven't read it.
We won't go past what's happened.
Okay.
But basically, what happens is, if you remember the rebellion, what happened was that Robert was really angry because he felt that Rhaegar Targaryen, who was the prince at the time, had stolen his woman. And his woman was Lyanna Stark, who we've seen as a stone face.
Supposed to be a very lovely lady, as I understand. Yeah.
But her face is just stone now because she's in the crypt in Winterfell. And so we actually see her in the very first episode of the whole show. And this is Ned's sister. So we end up at the Tower of Joy down in Dorne, and there's two Kingsguard there who are guarding it. And one of them is Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning.
Is he the double sword guy?
Yeah, he's double sword.
Okay.
They should have called him the Double Sword of the Morning after watching that episode.
Sure.
And so that's the scene is about kind of the fight between them, and of course, Bran has grown up believing that Eddard won the battle against this super famous swordsman. Jaime Lannister before Jaime Lannister. Right. And then he finds out that the guy was actually stabbed in the neck, and his father might have died.
Cheap.
Cowardly. But life-giving to many, many young children who are going to shape the world.
Right.
So, except for the dead ones. So the scene's really important because it's not quite over, right? Bran clearly wants to go back because he wants to know what his father was doing there, why he's going up there, and that mystery will probably unfold over the course of the season.
So did you feel like they nailed this scene? It's just that you were so happy to see it get done?
Yeah, and that was my pro. That's actually it. Like, one, I thought they did a great job of it, watching double swords spin around with two swords.
Yeah, Sir Darth Maul.
Yeah, it was super great. I enjoyed that a lot. But the other one is people who've read the books have been waiting for this to come up for a very long time. Okay. And we've been very confused as to how it's going to happen because, Eddard Stark was killed in the first season, and you're kind of like, well, how can you get into his memories without him around to think about it or something, right? And the clever part is in season 5, they started with Cersei having a flashback to when she was a little girl. going and talking to a witch and having a prophecy delivered unto her. And so that was the only flashback that we get, but it introduces the idea that we can do this.
Right.
This is part of Game of Thrones kind of now. And then this season, of course, we've had a flashback, an episode with Bran.
So does this not happen in the books? Does Bran become a student of this guy and goes back and starts seeing all this stuff? Doesn't happen that way?
The books have just ended before the continuation of his training, per se.
Ah.
So the books finish with Bran up there talking with him. Okay. I forget exactly how far. But he sees visions.
Right.
They're just, the show is kind of taking those visions and using them in a way to help really kind of build tension and tie things together.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. What do you not like?
I can't remember if last week I said Danny, but if I did, I'm gonna say Danny again anyway. I don't care.
I didn't have to say Dorn, so yeah, go ahead.
I felt like I just like Danny as a character. I don't like the story. I feel like it's really disconnected from where all the action is happening.
Yeah.
It seems like she's doing less and less. I don't really care about the widows of Cals. I don't know how to pronounce it. Cals? Cal?
Cals?
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know. It could be cool, but it's not now.
Well, it's one of those
things. To go before a tribunal, we're going to fall into like a court drama or something.
And didn't the lead woman look like Alice Cooper? Like she had all this like dark makeup, and she just looked like someone who'd been doing like hard drugs for 30 years on the rock circuit.
I don't think they let them leave that hut.
Exactly. That's what happens when you
got to entertain yourself somehow.
When you're the widow of a cow, you eventually form a rock band.
Yeah,
right? You're like cows and chains or something.
So, ladies, what do you want to do? You want to play some music, do some drugs? Yeah, what else are we going to do? Okay.
They look around, they're like, how many extra hearts do we have around here? Can we make these into instruments of any kind? Because if you noticed, right, that's the same place where Danny ate the heart in season 1, right? So they've probably got extra body parts that they can turn into drums, lutes, other instruments. Maybe
bagpipes.
Those bagpipes. If they've got enough sheep's gut or whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe all those bros. It's kind of funny. I just realized you said I think I didn't like Danny the last episode. Actually, that was what you did like because you liked you liked all the bros of the.
Oh, I liked how funny the scene was.
How funny the scene was with all those guys.
I might not have talked about it last time. I did think the scene was funny, but I continue to whether I state it or not, I dislike it. So as a
right,
I don't have to say it every time.
That's the official thing.
Until I say I do like it, I don't like it.
So those guys are probably the roadies for the band.
The roadies for the band.
We got this whole thing going. They should get it. I guess Danny's going to become the singer. That's what it is. It's like Crossroads with Britney Spears, right? Where they're like the one of them has to become...
You're assuming I know about that, but keep going.
Yeah, and one of them has to become the singer, right? Because that's why they've been languishing in Vice Dothrak. It's because they don't have the final piece of the puzzle. They're like the Beatles before John Lennon joined.
It's not any of the characters in particular. Like I like Danny as a character, and I like Alice Cooper. She seems cool, and all her Alice Cooperites seem cool. It seems so disconnected from the regular storyline that I lose interest in it.
And that's a general fault with the Danny storyline is that everywhere,
always has been.
Everywhere else, everything is interconnecting. Yeah. It's weaving. It's changing. And Danny's storyline is there's her. She meets new people. They come. They go. It's all based around her. She's the only perspective. Now Tyrion's there. Makes it a little more interesting. Dragons will probably make her storyline a little more interesting too. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, the worst case scenario of this would be that it becomes like Law and Order Dothraki, and there's a bunch of like episodes going on of guys in half shirts discussing the minutia of civil law in the plains in the desert.
Can you imagine the Dothraki lawyer? Right, he's got one of the giant hooked like blades. He wears all these like pelts. He's got the braid, and then he's got like these little reading glasses. Right, that he looks through his like hide book and talks about like ancient stallions that mounted the world and decreed thus versus other people. Right?
There are never objections. You just stand up and shoot an arrow through the head of the guy you don't like.
Every time someone goes objection, someone stands up behind them and just chops their neck off.
Yeah.
Objection!
Sustained. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like Game of Thrones, the book series, and I think that you do, you might also like this book. This was written by my buddy, Joel Minty. He didn't want me to plug it, but I'm plugging it anyway. This is Purge of Ashes, book 1 of the Imbalance. If you go to Amazon and search for any of these words, Joel Minty, which is his name, or Purge of Ashes, then you can get a copy for your very own. It's high fantasy.
Yes,
I haven't read it, but I hear it's lovely. It's very long, but I think you'll enjoy it.
It's got words. That's all the time we have this week for Fan vs. Fan, Season 6, Episode 3. I'm Joel Minty.
I'm Brian Crosby.
And we love bringing the show to you. We've got 2 other episodes. If you haven't watched them, go back in time, watch the episodes for episodes 1 and episode 2. And if you really like the show, you should check it out by subscribing on YouTube right here by clicking the fancy box.
And then when you come back from the past to the present, then you should also check out our Twitters at Dorkshelf.
Yes. These are great things we're doing.
We're very important.
It was a good episode. We'll see you next week.
Kicked him out!